Hi everyone, it's Kristie here from KP Creatives with another video for Two Scrapbook Friends. Today we are going to be making a Valentine card, and this is really a card you could use for Valentine's, you could use for a special person's birthday, anniversary, or even a wedding card. So lots of different options. You don't have to limit giving this card for Valentine's. And we have a few different things going on today, so I hope you'll stick with me and see how this card project comes together. So here's the list of supplies that we're going to be using for our project today. I know many of you have bought the large pack of the American Crafts Crimson cardstock. It is a staple in our collection for scrapbooking. Die cuts great, awesome to have in your collection for Christmas and for occasions like Valentine's Day. It's a great deep red cardstock. It is one that I turn to often, and it really does die cut super well also, and is great for techniques, as you'll see today. So we're going to use some of that. We've also got some deco foil transfer gel, some foils. We're going to be using some of the Gina K Designs master layout dies. I know some of you are adding those to your collection as well. So I'm going to show you how to use one of the dies from the master layouts 4. We've got a cutting plate, some other dies, and I just realized there's a mistake on this sheet. I forgot to delete the Distress Oxides. We're actually not using any inks today, so don't worry about the Distress Oxides. You do not need them for this project. Sorry about that. And then in terms of tools, we're going to be using a laminator or a mink machine. Either will work. I've got my waffle flower stencil mat, paper trimmer, foam tape, and of course we've got our standard Neenah Solar White Classic Crest 110-pound cardstock for our card base. So I'm going to set the transfer gel aside. We'll get to that in a moment. But we're going to be using these two dies from the Master Layouts 4 set from Gina K Designs. And you'll see that with these hearts, both of them come in the die set. They layer together wonderfully on your card project or your scrapbook pages. And this is a great size heart. So we're going to use that a little bit later on. There's also all like this scallop frame, some banners, tags, buttons, and hearts that come in this master layout set. So again, this is master layouts 4. These sets are awesome. So I highly encourage you to check out what is available on the Two Scrapbook Friends website, because they are absolutely fantastic to use in any type of paper crafting that you do. I've also got this great bold love die. This is from Hero Arts. It's from a set that they have called Love You. Excellent all-purpose set to have in your collection. There's also the word you in this same type of font, and many different sentiments that come with this set that are really easy to cut apart. So this is a great one to have in your stash. Then here's our card for our card base. So again, Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in the 110-pound. We're going for an A2 size final card, so 4¼ inches across and 5½ inches tall. I've got this great cutting plate. I'm really loving these pierced cutting plates from Tailored Expressions. This one cuts out the entire card front. So you can see there that it cuts that to the perfect size panel to fit on that A2 card base. So this cuts 4¼ by 5½. So you don't even have to cut anything else off of this card panel, which is really awesome. And I just want to show you the difference in terms of what it adds to the background of your card. So see here, you've got the plain cardstock. This is, again, the American Crafts Crimson, which is great on its own, but look at that awesome texture and detail you get from the pierced cutting plate. So you really get a lot of interest in your background when you use these, and they are awesome for any type of card. So these real like all-purpose circle designs, there's a diamond one, some stripes, really fantastic to have in your stash. And then I'm going to be using this very Valentine-y love themed stencil from Simple Stories, and this is called Floral Heart. So what we're going to do, again, I've got my waffle flower stencil mat here, and I'm going to open up the Deco Foil Transfer Gel and take out my spatula. You can use any type of palette knife you've got handy. And I'm going to just put this on top of the stencil right onto that crimson cardstock. So I'm being pretty liberal here. Just pop it on. I'm getting it all into the little nooks and crannies of this stencil. And then I'm going to bring in my stencil pal so that this will be nice. We'll get really nice even coverage all across this heart. I really like this Deco Foil Transfer Gel because you can just scoop what you haven't used right back into the pot and reuse it for another project. So my stencil pal is just out of reach a little bit, so just 1 second to grab that there. You're going to take the stencil pal and run it right down the stencil, and I'm going to go across so we make sure we get into all the little spots. And we'll go one more time from this side. Got one stubborn spot at the top there that's not quite catching. This stencil pal is great because it makes sure you get even coverage all around your stencil. So there we go. I'm going to take the excess here right off the back. Perfect. Scrape that back in. And then you're going to want to peel this up off of the paper and wash your stencil, of course. And then you're going to let this dry until it is clear. So this is what it looks like when it's still wet. It's white. After about 30 minutes, maybe 45, depending how thick the coverage is, it's going to dry clear. And this is what it's going to look like on your piece of the crimson cardstock. So again, it'll start out white and then it will dry clear. And now we are ready to move on to do some foiling. If you don't have a foiling machine, you could just use this. So foiling is not mandatory for, none of this is mandatory, obviously. Foiling is not mandatory, but it does add a little bit of fun and shine to your project. But you could absolutely leave this just as is. So I pulled a couple of foils from my collection that would go well for this project. One is the Gina K Designs Thermoweb in Radiant Red, Sparkling Silver, any type of silver would be great, Glimmering Gold. Those are three that I thought would be good. And I also had this Deco Foil Transfer and I'm not sure what this one is called. Opal. And this one is beautiful as well. It's like it's opal. So you get some really great iridescent shine off of this one, and that works really well too. So to show you what this ends up looking like, we are going to use some of the Radiant Red for today's project. So if you have never used foiling on either your ink machine or a laminator, all you need to do is take your piece of paper that has the Deco Foil Transfer Gel on it. You're going to lay your foil on top, and you're going to put it inside a piece of folded parchment paper. This is some of the parchment paper that comes with some of the Thermoweb Gina K Designs foil mates. It's sticking out a little. I have not had a problem with this running it through my laminator. I don't have a ink machine, so I can't speak to that, but certainly for the laminator, it is okay. If you don't know, just cut this part off and run it through your machine so everything fits inside this carrier sheet. I'm going to, unfortunately, the cord for my laminator doesn't stretch this far, so I'm just going to run this through my laminator, through the feeder part with the fold forward. So I'm going to run this through right now in real time so you can tell how long it takes for that foil to melt in to the Deco Foil Transfer Gel. So remember, this is what it looked like. I've got another one of these panels finished that's dry here. So this is what it looked like going in. So we started with what it looked like going in, and it's just feeding out the back of the foil machine now. So I'm going to be able to show you this beautiful foil shine from that Radiant Red foil in just a moment. So you're going to take it out of the parchment paper fold. You can save this for later. You can reuse this over and over and over again. I've got the foil that's melted down, and I'm going to peel this up so you can see what it looks like now. And look at that fabulous radiant red foil. So isn't that amazing? We started here, here's the dried deco foil gel, and now we have this beautiful shine. So again, any type of foil, honestly, that's gonna go with the card colors that you've picked is gonna look amazing. Of course, you got standby silver and gold, or even that opal will go with absolutely anything. So I really love how this radiant red looks against the crimson cardstock. So that's what we're going to go with today. So I did my die cutting off camera, but what you're going to want to do is now you're gonna take the stitched heart from the Gina K Designs Master 4 layouts, not the outline heart. Okay, that's going to be for the gray cardstock in a moment. So you're going to want to use the stitched heart. You're going to place this wherever you'd like on top of the foiled design, and you're going to run that through your die cutting machine. So this is the result that you will get. Then you want to take any type of coordinating color. You could use black. I used a couple of different grays. I really liked the gray with the crimson versus the starkness of black. You could use white, whatever coordinating color you would like. And you're going to cut that with the outline heart in your die cutting machine. And while you have your gray paper out, you're going to want to die cut the word love of the gray, black, white, whatever color of coordinating cardstock you're going to use at the same time. So that is all you're going to need for your die cutting. And then of course, you also want to run the Tailored Expressions pierced cutting plate through your die cutting machine as well. And again, it's not necessary to do that, but it does add a lot of great interest to the card background that you have. So there we go with all of the die cutting, all of the foiling, and we are ready to put this card project together. So I am going to grab my Lawn Fawn liquid glue, and we're going to put some liquid glue on the back of our foiled heart. And we're going to layer that up onto the gray heart that we've got here. And you're going to see how well these fit together from that master layout set. And imagine this on, you know, your scrapbook pages, any type of paper crafting. If you make boxes, like treat or gift boxes, this would be a fantastic die set to have for that as well. So there we go. That's going to set up, and you can see that really lovely outline right around it. And now we're going to glue on the word love, and I want to have this hanging off a little bit of the bottom of the heart. So I'm not going to put glue on the entire thing. I kind of want it to sit about here on my card. So I know I only need glue from this section up. So we'll get that going here. Love this Lawn Fawn liquid glue. Very similar to the Gina K Designs, Gina K Connect glue. It's fantastic because it dries clear on your project. So if a little bit starts to ooze out, not a big deal. And it's also awesome because liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room on your projects. So it's really forgiving from that perspective. If you are working with something where you want to get it on perfectly straight, it will give you a little bit of wiggle room time to be able to do that. So this looks pretty good. I'm just going to dab up a little bit of that excess glue. And that looks great. Awesome. So we've got that all layered up. I'm now going to flip this over and put a little bit of foam tape on the back so that this focal point will stand out a little bit with some dimension on the back of our card. So we'll just get a few pieces of foam tape here. Oh, I was really lucking out with my cutting there because Well, of course, this one is a little long, but really lucked out there because I didn't measure anything, which, you know, that usually doesn't happen to me. So cause for celebration. All right, so we have got our pierced panel. The other thing I love about this pierced panel is, and I hope you can see it, but the way the design works, the point on the bottom of this heart lands right perfectly at one of the intersections of the circles. So, and then it actually, there's a dip in one of the diamonds right at the heart. So super easy to line up, which is fantastic. So that's another advantage of getting one of these pierced cutting plates. Some of them make placement of your main sentiment or focal point on your card very easy. So I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue here, again, just so we get that wiggle room when we pop this down. So I'm going to turn this over, get that right where we want it. Again, the point is lining up with that intersection. And we're lined up there also. Fantastic. So that is all secure on our panel. All we have left to do is flip this over, add some of our liquid adhesive onto the back. You could use score tape here if you'd like. Tape runner would also work. You just want to make sure it's a pretty strong one because you do have quite a bit going on the top of this card. And here's a really great use for this waffle flower stencil mat. So I just have it on top of my Tim Holtz media mat. I'm going to take my card base. Again, this is the Neenah Classic Crest Solar White in the 110 pound cardstock, and we've cut and scored this, so 4.25 inches across, 5.5 tall. You can tuck that right into the corner of your stencil mat. Then flip your panel over, and because this panel cut exactly the same size as our card front, we can just pop it right down and we get it nice and straight, you know, without even trying. Just awesome. So that's a great little tip. You could also use, I've seen people on videos on YouTube, Kathy Zilski, often will just put it in the corner of her Misty. That also works to line up your card bases. So really fantastic to be able to get those straight. So this is our finished card project for today. So again, a great Valentine greeting, wedding, anniversary, birthday for someone special to you. I wanted to show you another version of this card that I made. So very similar, so same foil, but I used a darker gray cardstock just so you could see the difference in what that looks like. So there's a couple of different versions. And then I have one where I used the opal foil. So again, this was from Deco Foil, the opal foil through the laminator. And I layered a couple of the love dyes together. So I have the crimson in the back and then the gray on the top. So a few different options there for putting together this card. So I hope you will give this a try. Again, even if you don't have foil, you can just use the Deco Foil transfer gel. That would be totally good to see how that card came together. You could also use heat embossing, clear heat embossing through the stencil. That would be awesome too. So tons of options. Again, I apologize for the mistake on this list of the Distress Oxides. You do not need those for this project. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking with me to the end so that you could see the finished card project. If you have a moment, please subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified when we post new videos. Take a second and give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you next time.